Security Monitoring, an audiobook guide. Introduction. Welcome to Security Monitoring. This isn't just another technical manual, it's a practical guide born from the real world experience of security experts at Cisco. They've been in the trenches, defending one of the world's most complex networks, and they're here to share what they've learned. The goal of this audiobook is simple: to help you detect the damaging security incidents that threaten your enterprise. We'll move beyond generic alerts and teach you how to focus your efforts on what truly matters. We'll introduce a powerful six-step process to transform your monitoring from a noisy, overwhelming mess into a targeted, efficient, and effective defense system. Think of it as your playbook for building a world-class security monitoring capability. Let's get started. Chapter 1: Getting Started, the Wake-Up Call. Imagine it's January 2003. The SQL slammer worm is unleashed, and within minutes, it infects 90% of vulnerable hosts worldwide. It doubled in size every 8.5 seconds. Networks crashed, pagers went crazy. At Cisco, a massive manual effort began to identify infected systems, a process that took 48 painful hours. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was a wake-up call. The threat landscape was changing. The era of script kiddies just looking for bragging rights was ending. Malware was becoming sophisticated, attacking multiple vulnerabilities, and even stealing data. Antivirus software, our first line of defense, was failing. A single, cleverly crafted phishing email could slip past 90% of antivirus engines, as seen in a 2008 attack that looked like a missed UPS delivery. This isn't just about malware anymore. Organized crime has moved in, using botnets for identity theft and extortion. And the threats aren't always from the outside. Insiders, employees with access and knowledge, pose a huge risk. From the theft of 300,000 records from a stolen laptop to a financial analyst selling customer data for cash, the insider threat is real and growing. So why monitor? Because the old ways don't work. But monitoring is hard. Vendors promise set it and forget it solutions. But that's a fantasy. The operational reality is that turning on every log, auditing every database table will cripple your systems and overwhelm your staff with a tsunami of useless data. The volume is too high. Privacy is a concern, and you can't just outsource this problem. A managed security service provider doesn't understand your network's unique context. They can't tell you when someone copies your customer database. This book offers a different path. We call it policy-based monitoring. It's about prioritizing your efforts on the most critical systems and detecting deviations from your own defined security policies. It's a targeted, realistic approach. To illustrate these concepts, we'll follow a fictional company called Blanco Wireless, a mobile provider that stores sensitive customer data like social security numbers. Their journey will be our guide. Let's begin our six-step journey. Chapter 2, Step 1: Implement policies for monitoring. When you first see all the crawlies on your network with a tool like Snort, it's tempting to try and fix everything. You can't. You need a plan. Think of a security guard. He can't investigate every flicker on a camera. He needs a plan. That plan comes from three basic monitoring approaches. Blacklisting. You list everything that's bad and watch for it, like a no weapons sign at airport security. It works if the list is small and the items are reliably identifiable. Anomaly monitoring. You define what's normal and watch for deviations, like a suspicious mail alert. It's promising but can generate many false positives. Policy monitoring. You define a set of rules and check everyone against them, like a sign saying authorized personnel only. This is our focus. Policy-based monitoring compares network activity against a documented policy of what's allowed. For example, a database server should never initiate a connection to the internet. If it does, it's a clear policy violation, a huge red flag. This works best when you have reasonable control over your systems and can articulate what acceptable traffic looks like. Your policies must be precise and enforceable. A policy like employees must use encryption for confidential data is impossible to monitor automatically. But a policy like employees must use encryption when sending mail to external domains is enforceable. Don't waste time monitoring policies that management won't enforce. If you catch someone using peer-to-peer file sharing, but HR won't act on it, you're just creating noise for yourself. There are two main types of policies. One, regulatory compliance policies. These come from laws and industry standards. COBIT, control objectives, requires managing system configurations. You can monitor this by having your Cisco routers log every configuration change and reconciling that log with your approved change management system. Any unauthorized change becomes an instant alert. SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley, requires integrity in financial applications. A policy might prohibit direct database access to financial data except during approved admin windows. Your monitoring can then watch for any access outside those windows. HIPAA requires protection of health data. You could deploy a NIDS to ensure all patient data leaving a closed network is encrypted. ISO 17799 requires preventing unauthorized access. You can monitor syslogs for logins to generic service accounts and reconcile them against approved change requests. PCI DSS requires protection of cardholder data. You can use a NIDS with a regular expression to scan for unencrypted credit card numbers on your network. 2. Employee policies. These come from your company's own standards. Unique logins. Employees must use their own accounts for privileged operations. On Unix, you can monitor syslog for direct root logins, which should never happen. You want to see user A using sudo to become root, not root logging in directly. No rogue wireless. An insecure wireless. A P in a store can be a backdoor into the entire corporate network. You can use a wireless intrusion prevention system, WIPS, to automatically detect and block unauthorized devices. No direct internet from servers. Production servers should never need to initiate connections to the internet. This is a perfect policy for NetFlow monitoring. If a server in your data center suddenly starts talking to an unknown IP on the internet, you have a likely compromise. No tunneled traffic. Hackers often disguise malicious traffic, like IRC botnet commands, by tunneling it through allowed protocols like DNS. You can monitor for policy violations, like any client other than your corporate DNS servers making DNS requests to the internet. That's a red flag. Blanco Wireless policies. Blanco has two key policies. First, a data protection policy requiring that all personally identifiable information, PIY, be encrypted in storage in transit and accessed only by approved applications. Second, a server security policy stating that production servers can never initiate connections to the internet, and that direct login as root is prohibited. Our goal is to build a monitoring system that can detect violations of these specific policies.